So this is everything that I do to put on speed and add distance in the off season. So this is going to be a broad look on everything that I would do to add speed in your golf swing so you can hit longer drives over a 12-week period. So the first thing you want to do in this 12-week program is you need to go find someone that knows how to assess you properly. Okay, you need to work out, what's your mobility like? Are you strong? And are you good at producing speed? Especially the strength speed bit. So most people will be either one or the other. They'll be strong, but not very good at producing speed, or they'll be able to produce a lot of speed, but not very strong. So you need to find out where you are. Now, naturally, there's going to be some outliers. There's going to be people that are very quick and very strong. And those are those freaky athletes that probably won't be watching a video like this. But you're probably going to fall on one side of the spectrum to the other, so work out exactly where you are so you can build the best program. Okay, so just remember, I'm trying to keep this as generalized as possible, but that would be the first step, and then you can design your program. It may be that you're super immobile. I need to do a hell of a lot of mobility before you start the strength training cycle or the speed work, but you need to find out exactly how your body works. So 3 months is not actually a very long period of time at all. So we're trying to get as much as possible out of this 3 months. I would always start with doing strength and hypertrophy phase. I wouldn't worry about having a hypertrophy phase before moving into a strength training phase. I would try and keep the reps anywhere between 4 and 10 reps, just so you're getting some strength and you're getting some hypertrophy in there as well. And I would focus primarily around the compound lifts. You know, the squats, the deadlifts, the bench press, the overhead press, the pull-ups, the rows. And I'd focus on progressive overload. You're trying to increase the intensity by adding weight each week. So you are making structured progress. So you could do a lower upper split, you could do a push-pull legs, you could do a full body 3 day a week. You know, that is personal preference to a degree, because we're going to enjoy either full body more, we're going to enjoy either push-pull legs more, and at the end of the day, the thing you enjoy the most is usually the thing that you will actually keep doing. So there's an argument for that being more important than finding the absolute perfect program, because if you don't enjoy it, you're just not going to train. So work out what you enjoy the most. Personally, I do an upper lower split. I can hit every single body part twice a week. I go upper lower rest, upper lower, have the weekend off in which I do other forms of exercise, especially cardio. Just leave myself a little 80-yard flick. So personally, I would keep the strength training up throughout the cycle. Maybe reduce the volume as you get towards the end of the 12 weeks to allow more energy to be put into the speed work. But when I was training for long drive in the past, I made the mistake of really lowering the strength training and increasing the plyometrics and the speed work. And what happened is my strength actually went down. So I actually lost power because my potential power output was down. You know, in order to be powerful, we need to be strong and able to be quick, all right? And it's the combination of the two. So don't forget, when you're going through this training program, don't just sack off the strength training. So mobility, there's people that we need to do a lot of mobility before they do anything. And I'd advise to do a mobility routine throughout. Now I'm gonna list in the description some really good mobility routines that you can do. Now I know this guy, Bodyweight Warrior, he's a golfer and he's worked with golfers. His stuff, I'm not getting paid to say this, I just know that his mobility work is great, and there's some videos that you can follow below. I personally was really struggling with hip mobility for a long time, didn't do any mobility work through my early 20s because you don't think you need to do anything. And then you get to a certain age and all of a sudden you get out of the car and you got sciatica down your leg and it's disgusting. His routines, especially the hip mobility routine, was one of the first things that I followed, and I still do that religiously, probably about 3 days a week. And zero pain. You need to be mobile. One, in order to hit the positions needed to actually swing a golf club fast. But two, you're way less likely to get injured if you're mobile, all right? It's very important. 72 yards, 80 feeling shot in mind. Oh, that could be good. Now, it's all well and good getting stronger, getting bigger, but if you can't translate that to actually moving the golf club quicker, it's completely pointless. There is an argument that more muscle mass will help reduce the chances of injuries, which is true, but at the end of the day, we're trying to put on as much speed as possible, so we need to start doing some speed work. Now, speed work comes mostly in the form of speed training with the golf club or with swing sticks, but there's also plyometric exercises that you can do in the gym. So again, it's very busy out here, so I'm trying to be respectful with everyone on the golf course. So what I do about halfway through this training cycle, this 12 weeks, is I would start adding some plyometrics 1 day per week, and I would start adding 2 speed sessions per week. Always do speed sessions first. So if you've got a training day, if you've got an upper or lower training day or a full body training day, whatever, do your speed work in the morning, train weights, do your strength work in the evening. And remember, it's actually quite easy to completely fry your central nervous system. The central nervous system, you could see that as a battery. When you swing a golf club fast, when you do a speed session, that's going to drain the battery, drain the CNS. When you do a strength training session, that's going to drain the CNS. If you drain the CNS, the central nervous system, too much, then you will be overtrained, and that is going to halt your progress, and you could even go backwards. That is not what we want. So it's just something to think about. Don't be lifting weights 5 days a week, doing 5 speed sessions a week and thinking that that is smart. It is stupid. You need time to train, you need time to rest. Now, I can't make this video customized for everybody, so I can't go into the specific programs for every single person, because I feel like everybody needs a different program, all based around getting stronger, getting quicker and looking after your body, but everybody has a different need. So I'm not going to go into what you should be doing weeks 1 to 2 in terms of like exactly how many reps and what exercises you should be doing. Just try to take this as an sort of like a simplified view of the whole training cycle. Start with more strength, end with more speed. So as you start getting into week 8, okay, keep your strength work up, maybe reduce that to 2 sessions a week and add more speed work. The speed work is where we can translate the strength that we've built into actually moving this golf club quicker, which is the ultimate goal. Now, we've got 2 more things to talk about. Number 1 is your actual golf swing. So yeah, we can work on our bodies to get stronger and fitter. That is where we can get a huge gain, but we can also get a huge gain from moving the golf club more efficiently and getting impact in a much more efficient space. 97. Little spinny. Oh, could be good that. Could be good that, John. We could spend hours talking about the golf swing, talking about how we could move the club more efficiently, how we could use the floor better. But just to simplify it for today's video, I would just look at your numbers at impact. If you're 7 down and 7 left, you can get a lot more out of the golf ball. So the long drive guys are trying to get anywhere from 8 to 12 degrees up on the golf ball. That's the reason they need such high tees, because if they didn't have the high tees, they'd literally top it. We don't need to get to those extremes, but if you're hitting down on it, hitting across it, let's try and get those numbers in the positive. You know, Rory hits it such a long way, not only because he's a pretty powerful guy for his stature, but because he maximizes his numbers. He's 5'6" up on it and he's 5'6" right. And he hits those high, like knuckleball draws that go a very long way. He is getting so much out of his clubhead speed. So let's just think about trying to get your numbers in the positive. And you can still not add too much dynamic loft, then you're going to be getting a lot more out of your golf swing. That's for birdie. Oh, he's left it short. The last thing to mention, once you've put on the speed, is you need to have the driver that's going to be the best for you, the most efficient, the most optimized. Okay, so once you put all of those things together, you got stronger, you've got quicker, you're moving the golf club quicker, you're not chopping down on it, you're hitting up on it, and you've got the driver that works for you, you're going to be hitting drives a lot further. I'm sorry that I couldn't get really into the details of each subject. If there's something that pops up from this video and you've got a question, just get them in below and I'll try and go into more detail with these subjects in the future. All right, hope you enjoyed this. See you on the next one.